It's probably still not spooky season anymore. You know what that means?
Having mocha lattes?
What? No, it's time to squeeze in one last horror game. What can I say about this game that hasn't already been said? It's pretty iconic at this point, with a famously rocky development cycle that spun into a separate game, which we now know as the Devil May Cry series. Let's talk about my personal introduction into the Resident Evil series. Let's talk about Resident Evil 4. The backlog is real. Whether you're playing on Nintendo, Xbox, PlayStation, or Steam. And mine has gotten out of hand. I have no self-control, and when I see a deal, I have to grab it. Come with me as I finally tackle my backlog, gaining control one game at a time.
Resident Evil 4.
Resident Evil 4 is probably the most well-known RE game, and for good reason. The original game is freaking everywhere. I mean, it even got a VR remake for the Quest. Come on! And to think, it was supposed to be a GameCube exclusive. That didn't last long, once Capcom realized that the GameCube wasn't doing too well, and the folks that had them were probably a little too young to be playing an M-rated horror game, despite its charm. I first discovered the game on its PS2 port, and at first, it kind of freaked me out.
I'm sensing you're a bit of a bitch.
I was pretty young, but eventually I played it all the way through for the first of many, many more times over the years. I know that it is, or at least was, the most divisive game in the franchise, where some more long-term fans felt that the snappy, over-the-shoulder shooting was too action-heavy for their beloved survival horror franchise. And to that I say, have you even played Resident Evil 3 or Code Veronica? I mean, look at the intro cinematic to Code Veronica. No, they weren't already well on their way there at all. But to me, Resident Evil 4 is the one that started it all. It piqued my interest in the series, and after I played that one, I went and played all the ones that came before and after. The game starts out with a pretty concise recap of the past game's story up to this point.
1998. I'll never forget it. It was the year when those grisly murders occurred in the Arklay Mountains. Soon after, the news was out to the whole world, revealing that it was the fault of a secret viral experiment conducted by the international pharmaceutical enterprise, Umbrella. The virus broke out in a nearby mountain community, Raccoon City, and hit the peaceful little town with a devastating blow crippling its very foundation.
Well, at least the parts involving Raccoon City, Umbrella, and the nuke they sent to Raccoon City. So when I played it, I never really felt lost. You play Leon S. Kennedy, who went from a rookie cop who got caught up in the outbreak on his first day in the force, to a sassy,
"I've been expecting you, my brethren."
No thanks, bro.
Flirty.
You know, you're kind of cute without those glasses. Give me your number when I get back.
May I remind you that you're still on duty?
Story of my life.
Badass government agent who suplexes fools. Who was sent solo to retrieve the president's daughter, who's been kidnapped and taken to a remote village in Spain.
Don't come!
I know you're a badass, Leon, but I would think that the US government would provide a little more on-the-ground backup.
Been a long time, comrade.
Not you!
Breaking and entering into someone's home, Leon is understandably accosted by the resident with an axe.
Freeze.
Upon further inspection of the village, we find out that something isn't right with its residents, who all become violent with Leon pretty much on sight. Instead of the T-virus, the villagers are infected with something called the Las Plagas, which connects them to their leader, Lord Sadler, through some sort of hive mind.
Where's everyone going? Bingo?
The story in RE4 is pretty good as far as Resident Evil games go. There isn't too much here, the plot's pretty much surface deep, but the setting and cast of characters you meet were more than enough to hold my interest over many playthroughs. Resident Evil 4 takes place in a small Spanish village where the residents have been taken over by a creature called the Plaga. In true Resident Evil fashion, everything is dark and grim. The village you wander through is an unkempt mess that looks like no one is actively taking care of it. The other locations you visit are a freaking castle, which looks and feels like it crawled out of the 19th century, and an island which is home to a militia that is planning to spread the Plaga to the western United States. When you take each area as its own thing, you kind of wonder how it all fits together. Honestly, on paper, these areas really have no business working together in the same game, and I think it feels that way due to the many builds and iterations this game had before it was released. But here, it feels like a natural progression of things through the game, and I think that it's primarily because at its root, there is still modern day science in the plot, with Wesker even making an appearance aiming to get his hands on the
If
Plaga.
that's the case, then maybe we can capitalize on his little lucky streak. Take advantage of the distraction he is causing for Sadler and his followers to retrieve the sample.
I really can't say much bad things about it because I love it. Is it perfect? No. But hey, I always end up having a blast nonetheless, and especially on subsequent playthroughs when you have infinite ammo. This game practically pioneered the over-the-shoulder third-person shooter game. You walk around and avoid enemies and try to create distance, and as soon as you want to shoot your gun, the camera snaps to Leon's back and you're able to aim at pretty much any part of the body in order to kill the monster. Is it clunky? Yes. But I feel that lends itself to the survival horror aspect this game is attempting at first. I say attempting because when I play it at this point, I'm a one-man army blowing up villagers with a rocket launcher.
Freedom isn't free. It costs folks like you and me.
That's the other main aspect to the game, guns and item management. The guns are great, but when I start a new game, I always grab the Red 9 as soon as I can, and the Striker shotgun. But there are a ton of options here to suit whatever playstyle you want. They also all sound awesome. Each gun is punchy and powerful, and even the stronger guns like the hand cannon show their power through the recoil animations Leon has. The other main mechanic in play here is the inventory management. Leon comes fully prepared with an attaché case. Where does he keep it?
I guess we'll never know.
One of the main aspects is keeping everything in your inventory nice and organized, so you can leverage the entire case, leaving no squares unused. The mechanic is so fun to play around with in the game that someone even made an entire puzzle game around it. It's called Save Room and totally worth checking out. Other than that, the rest of the gameplay is still very much Resident Evil. Kill enemies and solve not so hard puzzles. If you somehow have never played or heard of the original Resident Evil 4, I encourage you to check it out. It breathed new life into what at the time felt like a somewhat repetitive formula and gave us a new genre of video game to boot. Now we have the remakes of RE2, 3, and 4, which have all been absolutely incredible. The remake of 2 and 4 specifically have defied my expectations and have redefined how you can do a creepy survival horror game in a third-person over-the-shoulder shooter. I absolutely adore this game. It's what got me into the Resident Evil franchise, and it's still one of the best in the series. If you made it this far, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give me a like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you. Let him who hath understanding reckon the number of the beast, for it is a human number. Its number is 666.